All right, my beautiful besties, episode 35, Who the Hell Did I Marry? It is now time for Takis going away party. And where is he having it? He's having it at the sister location in LA of the establishment that he is going to be moving to in Miami. The place that he was having it is still around today. It is a Hollywood nightclub and restaurant, smack dab in the middle of Hollywood. It is a big celebrity joint where you walk in, they've got table services. So you walk in, there's the bar. There's a bunch of tables all around. There's not really a dedicated dance floor. The location that he does move to in Miami does have a dance floor, but it is very bougie. It's got like all these kind of iridescent shell decorations everywhere and very gold laden. The week before the party was happening, I was staying very busy packing. I'd pretty much gotten all my stuff done, and I was actually going to be moving into the new place 2 weeks after Takis was moving. So time had been going fast, and him and I were actually in good terms at this point because I got everything that I wanted. It was established that we weren't going to be together. I was moving on with my life. I was very, very detached at this point, and I was kind of moving on emotionally and being able to just put my time into the things that I was able to do, into work, and also my budding relationship with Will, and then also going out with other men. The weekend comes up. I'm trying to figure out who is going to be at this thing. I know that there are certain friends of ours in LA that are going to be there that I had chatted with beforehand because I wanted to make sure that I had my team of assembly people and I had my whole army with me that could go. So a bunch of my older gay crew that were also friends with Takis were definitely going to be going, so I was going to roll up with them. I also knew that there were going to be people from his old job, the one they got let go from, that were going to be there. And I was like, there is no way on God's green earth, right, that he is going to be inviting Veronica. But you know what? Men are diabolical, so we don't know. I was trying to figure out what was going on beforehand, and Takis and I were just kind of going through logistical things. We were figuring out when he was going to take Hattie, how he was going to get her down there, and he was taking a couple other things from the house, like his other like leftover clothes that I hadn't cut up, like random gym shit and stuff like that, and everything else. So we were kind of in a flow of just being very cordial, and I wasn't completely trying to ruin his life anymore, because let's be honest, I kind of already did. During this time, a lot of people were kind of like, oh, are you upset that he actually found a new life and being able to start over in Miami? And I was like, look, honestly, getting him the hell out of my town, great. Like, I don't want to have to know that he is still around. I don't want to have to accidentally run into him because I know he works in nightlife. So I was like, Dos Vadanos, go to Miami, sir. Weekend rolls around. I'm like, all right, bitch, we have to look HOTT motherfucking hot for this man's party, right? Because it's also a very upscale club. So I knew I was going to have to wear something showing body, and I needed to figure out, because if any of his little hoes were there, I needed to look the best. I decided that I'm going to wear this dress that I'd been saving. It was a short cap sleeve black meow dress that was super tight, and it showed body, and it had like little flowers all over it. Before we go to the party, my friends are like, you know what, girl, it's been a hard ass fucking week. Let's go to a nice dinner first. We're going to treat you, and then we can get like a little bit tipsy, and then we can show up to the party a little bit sloshed so that it's not so hard, and we can like figure out the situation, because we also don't want to be the first ones there. I'm like, fuck yeah. We go have sushi at Yamashiro, so this is where that photo was taken. We go, we have shots of sake, we're having some wine, and I'm feeling good and confident, and I'm like, all right, I can face this shit. We roll up to the place. We walk up to the doorman. The doorman's like, who you guys here with? We were like, we were with Takis' party and his list. He's like, okay, great. I walk in with 3 of my gays. The place is pretty big. We didn't know where he was specifically when we walked in. We just knew that he had a table. As soon as I walk in, I immediately spot Dino's tall ass because he's like 6'4" and stands above the crowd. I see him, and the table that they were at, so here's the entrance, the table's like right over, like kind of towards the back where the DJ booth is, and it's a round kind of booth-like table, and I see Taki sitting in the middle, surrounded by all his fucking Greek guy friends, and it's mostly dudes. I don't really see any women there yet. I'm kind of like, okay, let's see what the deal is, let's roll up. We walk over, I sashay over. As I'm walking, I meet Taki's eyes. He looks at me, he immediately lightens up. He's just like, he stands up, he walks over, and he hugs both my friends. He looks at me, I'm looking at him. He's wearing a fucking suit again. It was a gray suit that had like these like little pinstripes on it. He was wearing a white button up, his little Hermes belt, and Gucci shoes, and then his hair was in this like freaking little mohawk thing. I go over, he gives me a kiss on both cheeks, and he was like, you look gorgeous. I'm like, thank you. He's like, okay, what do you guys want to drink? He gets us our drinks. I drink my typical vodka soda, and they're playing music, and I go around and I'm saying hi to everyone. I can tell that there is like this kind of vibe because everyone's kind of like, oh, look, it's Takis like soon to be ex-wife, and they've already signed the papers. I go over and I kiss Dino on the cheek, and we're chatting. Dino looks at me and he's like, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel great. And he was like, yeah, you're about to be a very, very comfortable woman. And I was like, yeah, well, I feel like I paid my dues in getting discomfort for all of this. And he was like, all right, Kat, all right, let's like play nice. I'm like, I am playing nice. You don't know what you're talking about. And so we're all there kind of having shots, and I'm drinking and I'm like chatting and I'm getting tipsy, right? Because I'm having a good time. I get a tap on my shoulder. I look behind me, and it's two of the girls that were hostesses at the previous restaurant that Takis was at. Remember when I walked out of there after I put all those big signs of his infidelities on the walls of his manager's office, and I walked out, and there were two girls that like had talked to me and were like, hey, just so you know, we think that you're really strong and everything. As I was walking out, it was those two girls that I was always very cool with. I was like, oh shit, if they're here, is Veronica going to be here? And I had asked my friends, I was like, do you think he's going to be there? And they were like, there's no way in hell that Takis would ever have the balls to invite her. Like, there's just no way. Like, that would be actually diabolical. I'm like, I agree. I see the girlies. They're like, oh my God, hi. They give me a hug, and we're just drinking and hanging out. And at some point, everyone's tipsy. And one of the girls, we're going to name her Raquel. She was this super cute half black girl with like little curls, and her and I had become very, very cool when she was working in the restaurant. And she was one of the people that had kind of let me in and do my thing when I was there. Her and I are sitting down, and we're just like laughing. And she goes, you know, Kat, I have to say that everyone at the restaurant, Takis' previous restaurant, the one in LA that he got fired from because of his infidelities, she goes, we all think that you're so strong, and we are just so happy that you are getting what you deserve out of this like whole ordeal, and we're just really, really happy that you have truly risen up out of this. Like, you've really handled this with grace, and we're all just very impressed by you, because we felt like other people would have crumbled or caused more of a scene. I'm like, girl, I pretty much did cause a scene. Like, I rolled up in there and did the thing. She was like, yeah, but you handled it. I was like, that's really sweet of you. Like, I really appreciate it. And she's like, and just so you know, I want to let you know that I actually never liked Veronica. And I was like, I appreciate you saying that. I'm like, look, she did what she did. She's clearly not a girl's girl, and that's okay. I truly wish her the best in new things and endeavors, and I hope that she can stay away from married men. And they were like, okay, there's something that we really want to tell you. And we've been thinking about if we were going to tell you, but now that Takis is leaving, we think that we can spill the beans too. I'm like, what is it? They're like, look, we know that this doesn't affect you because of the fact that you don't care what Veronica does other than the whole Takis debacle, but he wasn't the only one that she went after. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, before she went after Takis, when she first started working there, we all kind of thought she was trouble because she had said that in her previous job that she had always been the one that had relationships with her bosses, and that she liked doing that because she was really attracted to power and older men, and she liked it when she was their favorite, and that way she could be able to do whatever she wanted and get her schedule the way that she wanted and all that. No, like when she started over at the restaurant with Takis, it was very clear that she was going to make a move on Takis, but we had all told her that he had this wife that we all loved and that she should just stay away from him, but she kept kind of pursuing him, and it was clear that he was attracted to her. And they were like, but after he got let go and she got let go, her ex-best friend that was at the restaurant, so her friend that was like her closest friend at the restaurant, started spilling the beans, and apparently Veronica had also slept with the owner of the company. So the owner of the LA location, who is a man that I had never met because he was never around, but he would always like kind of come back between LA and New York. So one of the owners or investors who had visited a couple times, apparently she had also slept with him. And now, after she had left the restaurant, she basically had become his sugar baby, and she was like staying at his mansion in Beverly Hills while he was in New York with his family. And then she was figuring out her next move. And they were like, yeah, you know, she always said that she wanted to get her real estate license and she wanted to be a real estate agent. And apparently that's what she's been working on. I was like, wait, so she's like a full-on sugar daddy for like the company's boss? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, damn, this girl's scandalous. I'm like, and they're like, yeah. And he has like a whole ass family and kids. And apparently his wife knows about her, but his wife and him just have this kind of agreement that he can have girlfriends and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that ain't me. And they were like, but just so you know, like, you're not the only girl that she did this to. And I was like, well, that doesn't make me feel any better, but, you know, so glad that my man is one of the ones that have fallen for her. Obviously, he is the most to blame because he was my man, but that's kind of old Veronica's MO, y'all. At some point, I'm standing next to the table, just like dancing with my gays and friends. And throughout the night, I had been seeing Takis kind of talking to people and stealing glances at me, and talking to people and stealing glances at me. And I'm just like, all right, this man's about to be out of my state, out of my orbit, and like I can play nice, like I said, because I got everything that I want. And there's just no point in harboring any sort of animosity towards him or being mean to him now, because I'm fully formed, I'm happy, I'm moving on, right? We're getting tipsy, we're drinking. He walks over to me and he's like, you look happy. And I was like, why wouldn't I be happy? And he was like, I guess you are happy because I'm leaving, huh? And I was like, I'm happy for a lot of other reasons. And he was like, well, I'm really, really sorry. And I do hope that you will get everything that you want. I want you to be happy. And I was like, I get that. And he was like, so you're going to miss me? And I was like, absolutely not. And he was like, you can come visit me in Miami. And I'm like, maybe after some time passes, then yeah, and you want to buy my flight, put me up and all that shit. Like, okay, maybe. And he was like, well, the condo is still open and is a room for you there. I'm like, all right. We end up sitting down and we're chatting. I'm like tipsy at this point. And he's just kind of like holding my hands like this and like looking deep into my eyes, you guys. And he's just like, look, Kat, I know I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm really sorry. And I was like, I get it. And then he looks at me, y'all, and he goes, so you've been dating? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, have you slept with somebody else? I'm like, first of all, that's none of your business. Second of all, yes, I have. And he was like, oh, how was it? I'm like, great. And he goes, I've slept with someone else too. I'm like, we know. That's why we broke up. And he's like, no, like since then. I'm like, okay, whatever. And he's like, but I want to let you know that I'm not seeing Veronica anymore. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about Veronica. Like, you do you. And he's like, well, we stopped talking because she wanted to actually have a relationship with me. And I didn't want that because obviously I'm going to Miami. I'm like, again, this is information that I don't need to hear, but I get that you're tipsy and you're just like telling me all the things. I'm like, well, apparently you're not the only big boss honcho that she went after. So I guess you can't really feel that special, Takis. And he was like, yeah, well, she's just that type of girl. I'm like, okay. He's still holding my hand. I'm like, why are you still holding my hand, sir? I look over his shoulder and I see Dino looking at us and smirking. I'm like, Dino, don't be looking at me like that. And one of his other friends, Billy, the other Greek, was like, wow, you guys look cozy. Is this a reunion? I'm like, go away, Billy. They're all smiling behind me. I look at Takis and Takis is like, okay, so I'm going to take Hattie and I'm going to make sure that you're taken care of. But just know that if you ever need anything, I will always be here for you. And I was like, I get it. I don't trust you. However, maybe one day we can be friends. And he was just like, I would really, really like that. And then he leans over, y'all. And like, I think he's going to kiss me on the cheek because it's like, okay, kiss on the cheek, whatever. I lean over to let him kiss me on the cheek. This dude kisses me on the lips. And I'm like, Takis, what the fuck? I move, right? And he just looks at me smiling. And he was like, I just wanted one last kiss. Y'all. What did I do next? Yeah, well, I looked over his shoulder and I saw someone come towards me, which made me make a decision very quickly on what I did next. So, yeah, y'all. Veronica is diabolical. Who is behind Takis? Episode 36, the rest of his party, the rest of my life, and the updates on what's happening after that, because soon we're going to get into the updates of the most recent Takis renewal and my new relationship with him now. Don't worry, I'm not back with him. What happened to Veronica and all the updates. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I love you so much.